Behind the mysterious death of Sam Cooke. In the 1950s and 1960s, if you wanted to get the party going, you put on Sam Cooke. Heck, even today, Cooke's songs can be heard at many family barbecues, housewarming parties, and more. He's a staple on soul radio and a signature American artist, but Cooke's death in 1964 remains shrouded in mystery and darkness. He was just 33 years old. Let's explore the life and death of the King of Soul. Beginnings. Hit songs. Sam Cooke was born on January 22, 1931, in Mississippi. Later, Cooke and his family moved to Chicago, where he began to sing as a child. In 1950, he joined the Soul Stirrers as the lead singer. He went solo in 1957, releasing a number of hit songs, including You Send Me, A Change Is Gonna Come, Cupid, Chain Gang, Twistin' the Night Away, Bring It On Home to Me, and more. During his 8-year career as a professional solo artist, Cooke released 29 singles that charted in the Billboard Top 40. Cooke helped the careers of other legends, including Aretha Franklin, Al Green, Curtis Mayfield, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and more. He also helped to popularize the music of Otis Redding and James Brown. Writer Bruce Eder said he was the inventor of soul music. Civil rights movement leader Cooke was integral to the civil rights movement in America. He leveraged his influence and popularity with both the white and black populations to fight for equal rights for African Americans. He even helped to organize sessions with major figures including Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and Jim Brown. The impact of Sam Cooke's all-too-brief life on the history of music can't be overstated. Not content with having one of the strongest, smoothest voices in soul, the singer arguably became the first star-turned-mogul in the business, setting up his own record label and publishing company in his late 20s. His song A Change Is Gonna Come, released posthumously 11 days after he died, was at once a cry of desperation and a clarion call of hope. It signified the limbo of an African-American community still in the process of extricating itself from profound institutional and social oppression. Cooke agreed with his musical collaborator Bobby Womack when he told him the song sounded like death. After recording it, he only sang it once in public during his lifetime, in a recording of The Tonight Show, which is now lost. Just 10 months after that performance, the song would become forever intertwined with death under the most unexpected of circumstances, as Cooke lost his life at the age of just 33. And mystery continues to swirl around the specific circumstances of this tragic event even today, perpetuating conspiracy theories which have been put forward from the moment it happened. What we know for certain is that a young woman called the police via a phone booth close to the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles in the early hours of December 11, 1964. She told the police, "I was kidnapped." A few minutes later, Cooke was dead. So, what happened at the motel? The young woman on the phone was Elisa Boyer, who'd met Cooke earlier in the evening at Martoni's restaurant in Hollywood. Cooke had had dinner there with his label's recording engineer, Al Schmidt, and Schmidt's then-wife, Joan Dew. During the meal, Dew recalls that Cooke took out a large wad of cash and put it on the table. "Don't be flashing that money here," Schmidt told him. "Put it back in your pocket." As the couple said their goodbyes, Cooke went up to the bar where Boyer happened to be sitting, and the two began chatting. After drinking late into the night, Cooke insisted on driving Boyer to a motel. He did so against her will, according to her testimony on the witness stand, as she told him repeatedly, "Please take me home." The two ended up at the Hacienda, where Cooke allegedly attempted to rape Boyer before she fled the scene while he was using the bathroom, accidentally taking some of his clothes with her. That's where Boyer's part of the story ends. The Hacienda Motel was known as a budget motel located at 9137 South Figueroa Street. Cooke and Boyer checked into room 3, with the motel's manager, Bertha Franklin, witnessing their arrival. This detail has fueled speculation since Cooke was an established star, and staying at such a place would have been uncharacteristic. In Boyer's version of events, once inside the room, Cooke allegedly attempted to assault her. Boyer claimed she was frightened and managed to grab some of Cooke's clothes, including his pants and shirt, before fleeing from the room. She later claimed that she was seeking refuge when she left Cooke's room, carrying his clothing to prevent him from following her immediately. Boyer said she hid in the motel's manager's office, where Bertha Franklin was present. According to Franklin's testimony, Cooke, reportedly in a panic, wearing only a sports jacket and one shoe, went to the front office and knocked loudly, demanding to know where Boyer had gone with his belongings. Franklin claimed that Cooke forced his way into the office, yelling and trying to open doors to search for Boyer. Franklin said that a physical struggle ensued, with Cooke allegedly grabbing her and knocking her to the ground. Franklin testified that she retrieved a gun and, fearing for her life, shot Cooke once in the chest, killing him instantly. According to her, Cooke's last words were, "Lady, you shot me." He was found dead on the scene, with a blood alcohol level suggesting he was moderately intoxicated. Franklin claimed she acted in self-defense, and after the shooting, Boyer made her way to a phone booth and called the police. Inconsistencies and doubts. Boyer's account had several inconsistencies that raised doubts about her credibility. Witnesses from the nightclub reported that Boyer had willingly left with Cooke, and there was no indication that she was under duress. Additionally, Cooke's friends and family found it hard to believe he would have acted violently in such a manner, fueling speculation that Boyer's account may have been fabricated or exaggerated. In 1979, Boyer was arrested for prostitution, adding another layer of suspicion about her character and motives. Her criminal record contributed to the theory that Boyer may have been involved in a setup or scheme, potentially under the influence of other parties who wanted to take advantage of Cooke or even see him harmed. This background led some to question whether her interaction with Cooke that night was spontaneous or prearranged with ulterior motives. Bertha Franklin's encounter with Sam Cooke at the Hacienda Motel on December 11, 1964, remains highly controversial. According to her account, she shot Cooke in self-defense after a violent confrontation. Franklin claimed that Cooke burst into the motel office half-dressed, searching for a woman, Elisa Boyer, who had fled the room they shared, allegedly taking his clothes and money. The incident and Franklin's account. Franklin's testimony stated that Cooke, intoxicated and enraged, demanded to know where Boyer had gone, accusing Franklin of hiding her. Franklin alleged that Cooke then tried to grab her, prompting her to defend herself by hitting him with a broom handle. She claimed that this action did little to stop him, so she grabbed her .22 caliber pistol and fired 3 shots, one of which fatally struck Cooke in the chest. Franklin's account painted Cooke as aggressive, suggesting that she feared for her life, which led her to use deadly force. The police investigation at the time accepted her explanation and ruled Cooke's death a justifiable homicide, attributing his behavior to intoxication and possibly drug use, though no drugs were found in his system. Franklin's lawsuit against Cooke's estate. Following Cooke's death, Franklin faced significant public backlash and even received death threats from fans who believed she was responsible for his murder. In response to the negative publicity and harassment she experienced, Franklin filed a lawsuit against Cooke's estate, seeking $200,000 in damages. She argued that the incident and resulting media attention had damaged her reputation, impacted her ability to work, and caused emotional distress. The lawsuit was met with skepticism, especially from Cooke's fans and family, who believed the official story was questionable. Some theorized that Franklin's motive in filing the lawsuit was to take advantage of Cooke's estate, while others believed she was genuinely trying to address the toll the incident had taken on her life. Ultimately, Franklin's lawsuit was unsuccessful, and she was unable to secure any damages. Many people doubted Franklin's account of what happened, especially given the inconsistencies in her story and the quick closure of the case by the police. Some believe that Cooke was set up and that the incident involved more than just a random confrontation. Here are a few theories and questions that continue to fuel skepticism. The broom incident. Franklin's claim of hitting Cooke with a broom was met with suspicion, as it seemed an unusual and insufficient means of self-defense against a supposedly aggressive man. Critics of the story argue that her hitting Cooke with a broom could have been a stalling tactic or a detail added to support her claim of self-defense. How did this elderly woman give Sam a massive head wound and break both his hands with a broomstick, with a gun from a different caliber than hers? And why is she wearing sunglasses while giving a testimony? Financial gain and hidden motives. After Cooke's death, Alan Klein, Cooke's business manager, gained control over much of Cooke's music catalog and royalties, which has fueled theories that Franklin might have been part of a larger scheme to kill Cooke for financial reasons. Police investigation into Cooke's death was brief and accepted Franklin's version of events without further scrutiny. Its quick resolution led to public distrust and has been criticized as inadequate. Discrepancies in Franklin's testimony. Franklin's account of events had inconsistencies, particularly regarding the level of threat Cooke posed and her responses. The fact that Cooke's head and hands reportedly showed signs of severe trauma, recounted by Etta James, has raised questions about whether Franklin's account was entirely truthful. Cooke's friend Muhammad Ali once said, "If Cooke had been Frank Sinatra, the Beatles, or Ricky Nelson, the FBI would be investigating." Other elements of the case didn't add up, as singer Etta James recalled at his funeral that his head was practically disconnected from his shoulders. That's how badly he'd been beaten. His hands were broken and crushed. They tried to cover it up with makeup, but I could see massive bruises on his head. No woman with a broomstick could have inflicted that kind of beating against a strong, full-grown man. None of this was in the autopsy reports. Some believe that he was murdered elsewhere and dropped at the motel with a new story. Others think that his business manager was involved, hoping to control his millions. Coroner's inquest and official findings. An inquest was held days later on December 16, 1964. Both Boyer and Franklin testified, and the jury ruled the shooting a justifiable homicide, citing self-defense on Franklin's part. Franklin was not charged with any crime. The inquest was relatively brief and didn't delve deeply into the inconsistencies surrounding the incident. For instance, the police accepted Boyer's version of events without conducting a thorough investigation of her background or questioning her story's details. The case was officially closed, with the verdict supporting Franklin's claim of self-defense. Cooke's missing money. Another unexplained detail is that Cooke was reportedly carrying a large sum of money earlier that evening, which was never recovered. Witnesses stated he had around $5,000, yet no cash was found at the scene. This detail has led to suspicions that robbery might have been a motive, but no further investigation followed. Lack of a thorough investigation. Many critics argue that the police failed to conduct a thorough investigation. The entire inquest concluded in less than a week, with little follow-up on inconsistencies or potential alternative motives. Some have suggested that because Cooke was a black artist and Franklin and Boyer were working-class women, the case was handled with less scrutiny than it might have otherwise received. Conspiracy theories involving Alan Klein. Alan Klein, Cooke's business manager, has been named in various conspiracy theories. Klein was known for his hard-nosed business tactics and had significant financial interests in Cooke's music catalog. Due to their business arrangement, Klein would continue to earn royalties and control a large portion of Cooke's earnings after his death. Although there is no direct evidence linking Klein to the events at the Hacienda Motel, his substantial financial gain after Cooke's death led some to suspect foul play. It's worth noting that Klein has faced similar accusations of manipulation and exploitation in other artist relationships, including with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones.